Hello and welcome to Wednesday's programme.
Your headlines tonight. As the family members of people jailed indefinitely for minor crimes take their protests to Westminster, a former inmate tells us his sentence was inhumane.
It still affects me day to day. There's no justification in it. And what it does to you, it ruins you. It's ruined me.
Also tonight, 3 months on from one of the worst winter storms in recent memory, we'll be asking what Cornwall can do to be better prepared.
The parents waiting to find out tomorrow where their 4-year-olds will start school in September and the options if they don't get their first choice.
And a lifeline for older people. We spend the day at the community centre in Somerset, tackling rural isolation.
A very good evening. West Country families took part in a protest in Westminster today against the continued imprisonment of people indefinitely, often for minor offences. The imprisonment for public protection sentences, or IPPs, were introduced to keep people locked up, with release being based on assessing their future risk.
But for many prisoners, these sentences led to severe mental health problems. 96 took their own lives. And although IPP sentences were abolished in 2012, here in the West Country, there are 90 prisoners still being held without any date of release. Well, Jackie Bird has been speaking to a man who was told he would serve a minimum of 2 years, but ended up in prison for 14.
As I understand it, the purpose of an IPP is for rehabilitation. It's to help, it's to offer you things while you're in prison to sort your life out and to make sure that you don't offend again. And those are courses and things like that. Was anything like that offered to you?
You had a sentence plan, but like I say, some of these courses that you're waiting to go on, some of the waiting lists for 4 and 5 years. I mean, they sent me to a prison where, you know, and all the courses I need to do was not available, so I was just stuck in this prison for 6 years, doing nothing at all, apart from, you know, going insane with this sentence, you know, not having a release date, getting yourself in trouble with lads on the wing, you know, because that's just rebelling, basically, you know, taking drugs again, drinking hooch. That's how it was for me for many years, because I was in limbo, basically.
And what effect has that had on you?
It's had a massive effect, you know, coming out with the mental health problems, you know, being this a social personality disorder, voices in my head, you know, violent tendencies, you know, and like I said, I'm on a lot of antipsychotic medication, which before I went to prison, I had a drinking drug problem, but I wasn't mentally ill. It still affects me day to day. I've got to take medication every day for what that sentence did to me. Every day. People in the public can turn around and say, yeah, OK, well, you deserved it, you deserve it. Yeah, OK, fine, I deserve to be punished, but don't send me to prison for a sentence that warrants 4 years and end up doing 14 years. You know, try and grasp there's no justification in it. And what it does to you, it ruins you. It's ruined me.
What was the turning point for you?
The turning point? Well, I was actually sat in my cell one day and I was in Risley prison, by the way. I was sat in my cell and I was done the calm course and all that. And an officer took the time to come and speak to me. He sat with me for about an hour and he was talking to me. And he talked to me as a friend, not like a prison officer. And he sat down there and he said to me, listen, this is what you need to do. And that officer, he totally went out of his way for me. I started to think that I had self-worth again because of this officer. Just one officer gave me self-worth. He believed in me and he put a lot of trust in me. And that's what made the difference for me with a turning point.
And that IPP had stripped that all away from you?
It takes everything away from you. It takes your dignity, your self-pride, your self-worth. That's what it does to a person. You know, it's totally, it was ill thought out. And you know what, the best way to explain it is that it's degrading. Degrading, really is degrading. I could do that to a human being. No, I'm sorry. You know, if I killed somebody or done something really, really horrendous, then I hold my hands up, I deserve the sentence. I deserve to go to prison on a sentence, but I didn't deserve to have an unopened sentence, you know, like just never ending, I'm afraid. That's the way I think about it.
Jackie Bird reporting there. Well, the Ministry of Justice says it is right that IPP sentences were abolished, and it's already taken action to support those offenders that move on with their lives.
You know, there were some very emotive issues that were brought up in that report. If you've been affected by any of them, there is support and advice on our website. Just follow the address below or scan the QR code. It's always there for you.
Now, 3 months on from Storm Goretti, which caused extensive damage to Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, questions are being asked if the region could be better prepared for future winter storms.
Tens of thousands of properties lost power, didn't they? And 15,000 were without water in West Cornwall. Well, this week we've been hearing from those who were impacted and finding out what lessons have been learned. Kathy Wardle reports.
It was described as a multi-hazard event, tearing up trees and leaving a trail of destruction. But there's no doubting Storm Goretti highlighted the resilience and community spirit to be found across the duchy. Helford was one of those rural villages that found itself cut off. Here an old rescued phone box suddenly came into its own the morning after the storm. So, John, how come this village still has a working phone box? That seems quite unusual.
We were very lucky. We were notified, like other villages, that the phone boxes were going to go because they hadn't been used. Then we discovered there's an Ofcom rule that says you have to have adequate mobile phone communications in the village in order for them to take the phone box away. And we have very poor mobile phone communications, sometimes only 1 bar, and we don't have data. So we got to keep our phone box. And in the end, it was a godsend. This was the only communications that were working in the village. And so people would come down here and make their phone calls, report faults, talk to family. The only problem was you have to have a bag full of coins, and most of us didn't have coins. But eventually you got around that, and it was used quite a lot.
Storm Goretti showed up weaknesses in many rural areas when it came to communications. By 2027, the UK's entire old copper wire landline network will have switched over to a more modern digital service, where your landline connects to a broadband router. Many already have. But if you lose power, as many did for days after Storm Goretti, you can't use your landline. Vicky Carpenter lives and works on the Lizard and is co-founder of accessibility organisation Access Cornwall. She says the storm caused safety issues for vulnerable people in rural areas.
People had been really in difficult situations. So, for example, one lady contacted me and said that her husband was in a power chair and the battery had run out, and they literally couldn't move him out of his chair for the entire time until the power came back on, which was days. You know, it was days with the power out. And it all boiled down to one simple fact. Our old system, we would have been able to phone up. But because we've transferred from analogue phones to smartphones, there's no signal here, and people were really in quite dangerous situation if they were particularly vulnerable.
BT Openreach says the UK-wide switchover from analogue to digital is critical as the old technology becomes more unreliable. It says it does offer backup battery units and hybrid phones to customers with additional needs. Virgin Media also told us it has comprehensive support measures in place, including emergency backup lines with 8 hours of battery life for customers who need them. So if you do have worries about this, it's best to contact your own landline provider. Cornwall's Fire Chief Catherine Billing was one of the senior leaders who met with the Duke of Cornwall in March to reflect on lessons learned from the storm. One idea is that in future Cornwall's fire stations could play a bigger role as emergency hubs.
What we're doing is just looking at what happened on that night, but also really giving consideration to the fact that these complex, challenging types of incidents are going to happen more and more. And what I mean by that is where you lose power, water and connectivity, our kind of networks. And those were the key things that really made us very vulnerable on the night.
Over in the seaside village of Mousel on Fridays, it's the coffee morning in the village hall, an event that still went ahead the morning after Storm Goretti.
A young mum put on the WhatsApp group. When I had posted we were running our coffee morning, she said, "Oh, please can I come? School is shut. I've got a 7-year-old son. Our power's out. Our phones are out of battery. We have no heat. May we come to your coffee morning?" So this young woman came and she had coffee and cake. She charged up her phone. And actually she said to me the other day, it was a bit like finding a lot of mothers to look after her. And that sort of spawned the idea that we have to be more ready.
And it's village halls like this that could take the lead if there's another major storm.
If we can get every parish and town council to have an emergency plan, and it can be a really basic level, but just some community resilience, some phone numbers, some people to contact, some knowledge about who are the vulnerable people in the community, who are the people that have certain skills, who are first aiders, if there's any doctors in the village, all this sort of information, we're more resilient, and the services that are there and can help in emergencies can target their action.
Liz Wilkin is helping put together an emergency plan for the nearby village of Lamorna.
Lamorna is a heavily wooded valley and it was really badly affected in Storm Goretti. We had scores of trees down and residents lost their power for over 3 days, some of them, and the phone line for over 2 weeks. All of the roads into the valley were blocked by the trees, and that made us realise that we were vulnerable as a community and that we needed to address that. The village hall has bought a large battery power storage unit. We're also looking at buying some gas cookers, wind-up radio, wind-up torches, enhanced first aid kit, that kind of thing.
Future ambitions include a storm community fund for emergency supplies and for most areas to have a basic emergency plan by next winter. So next time we hear this, Cornwall can face any storms it brings better prepared. Cathy Wardle, ITV News.
It's a very interesting point, isn't it? The preparedness and the lack of the phones as well. You really feel that now that we've all gone to a kind of more digital world.
I know the landlines and the wind-up radios, sometimes the old methods are the best. But with the pace of the world and the news cycle as it is, it was interesting to see. Sometimes you forget how devastating those storms are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, Falmouth Harbour was also hit by Storm Goretti, wasn't it? People were rescued from the marina for the first time ever.
Yes, that harbour has invested in stronger chains in recent years to secure boats, but has warned that more intense storms like Goretti would make them consider removing winter moorings. Charlotte Gay reports.
Well, in a storm, normally the harbour or a marina is one of the safest places you could moor up your vessel, but that was not the case when Storm Goretti hit Falmouth. Some of the strongest winds to ever reach this part of Cornwall, and it was absolutely devastating on the moorings here, and really was almost very dangerous for people who were living on their boats. There were rescues that had to be made that night by the RNLI, and somebody who was around in Falmouth that night was Miles Carden. You're the CEO of Falmouth Harbour. What was it like here?
It was exceptional. So we had hurricane force 12 winds. I mean, you saw the conditions that were in our marina, where, as you say, you expect people to be safe. It simply wasn't that safe, and it was an incredible night, and we received a lot of damage. But of course, it was thankfully everyone was safe in the night.
So when that happens, and you obviously have strong winds that you have to protect for anyway, what have you done to sort of strengthen moorings and hopefully stop vessels from being pulled out to sea?
Well, we're working increasingly hard on resilience around storminess, and it's an unknown because these are happening more often. They seem to be more violent. So we're putting a lot of investment into our moorings and the systems we do around maintenance and what we do, and also some of the protections we do for the yachts in those marinas. So a lot of hard work goes to my team to prepare for those sort of storms, but when you get those exceptional conditions, it's really, really difficult to manage that.
Yeah, you were saying to me before that in the Caribbean they have hurricane storm holds, but that isn't just practical here in Falmouth, is it?
And we're learning from this, so this is really new. So I think we might expect these storms every 40, 50 years, but probably in the last 5 years we probably had 5 or 6 significant storms go through. But you say when you're in the hurricane area of the Caribbean, yachts get brought ashore because they're safe and they get put in hurricane holes in the ground, so they can't be blown over either when they're on the shore. So we are thinking about the future, about what we might do, about extra resilience. I don't want to get to a stage where we don't do winter moorings or winter accommodation because people live on these boats. They need that safety, they need their safe accommodation. But it is about investment at the moment and looking about making our infrastructure more resilient.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having a chat with us. As you say, nobody wants to take away winter moorings, but ultimately the question has to be what is safest, and if we're getting more and more of these once in a generation events that are happening more than once in a generation, then we really have to start asking those questions. Charlotte Gay, ITV News, Falmouth Harbour.
Yes, we really do. And you know, what are your memories of Storm Goretti? Because it really did hit so many people, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And it caused such... For some, it was nothing.
Yes.
And then for other people, it was utter devastation that they're still reeling from, as we've said this week.
Like Charlotte said, it's a once-in-a-generation that could happen.
But
way more than once in a generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
Well, you're watching ITV News in the West Country with Seb and Alex.
Yes, thank you for your company this Wednesday evening. Still ahead before 6:30. We visit a community centre in Somerset described as a lifeline for local people.
And weather-wise, let's skip Thursday and Friday and head straight for the good stuff. High pressure dominating, so hopefully more sunshine, light winds and warm weather too. All the other details on their way.
Good.
Yes. Next tonight, this is a story that may resonate with a few of you because it's about new mums missing out on time to bond with their babies because of cancer treatment.
Those diagnosed during pregnancy or in the year after giving birth are spending their maternity leave in and out of hospital, so they're unable to make the most of the time with their new arrival. It's prompted calls for a change in the law to allow anyone who's in that situation to delay their maternity leave, as Lauren Hall reports.
Enjoying a tea party with her young daughter, Beth Dedman is making up for lost time, having spent much of her maternity leave undergoing treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma, a type of blood cancer.
Mummy, have some. It was a slog. There can't be anything else that can happen. Like, this is the worst that it can get. So you just keep ploughing on, you keep going. Ready? 1.
Her treatment lasted months, and all the while, she says she was watching her maternity leave ticking away.
I had a lot of friends who had children at the same time. I could see what they were doing and we weren't able to do the same things. And I couldn't take her swimming. We didn't go to any classes. It wasn't how anyone would necessarily envisage or expect that period of time to be.
Every day, at least 2 women in the UK are diagnosed with cancer during pregnancy or within the first year after giving birth. But maternity leave can't be paused or postponed, unlike paternity leave. This employment lawyer in Exeter says there could be a strong case for a change in the law.
To allow some postponement for 12 months feels fair. It feels the right thing to do for that woman and her child. And fortunately, the circumstances in which arise are not every day, so every employer won't be affected by it. And we're not talking about creating a new right. We're just enabling a mother to use her right at the most appropriate and beneficial time for her and her child.
It's why the charity Mummy's Star is calling for a change in the law, allowing women to defer their maternity leave until the end of their cancer treatments. It means a lot to its founder, whose wife Maya died from cancer when their baby son was 10 weeks old.
We do have this quirk in the system where if I had fallen sick during my paternity leave, I could have paused it and then recommenced it when I felt better. It is cruel in its in the extreme that a sick parent who's just given birth cannot have the same opportunity.
The government says it is being looked into, telling us receiving news of a cancer diagnosis is devastating, especially for mothers on maternity leave. Our parental leave review's exploring how we can better support working families so parents can spend time doing what matters most, caring for their baby.
Ready?
That review will end early next year. Beth hopes it will make a difference, so mothers like her aren't missing out on precious time bonding with their babies. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Well, the ITV News continues after us with the national and international stories at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the evening news, how was a prisoner who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl accidentally freed early from prison? The government releases its report. Trucks begin the task of removing huge mountains of waste illegally dumped in Oxfordshire. And Harry's candid comments as he talks about therapy on his trip down under. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Yes, that's all coming up. It's about 20 minutes past 6. Now, organisers of the historic Bridgewater Carnival are calling on the government to help reduce increasing operational costs. Its committee met with Culture Minister Stephanie Peacock yesterday to discuss the financial stress that charities are under to host big events. The government says it's committed to supporting the sector.
A Devon-based charity which rehomes commercially farmed hens is celebrating its 21st birthday today. Since 2005, the British Hen Welfare Trust, based near South Molton, has found adoption homes for more than 1 million egg-laying chickens to save them from slaughter. It now has centres right across the UK. Happy birthday.
I know, it just makes you completely smile, that story, really, doesn't it? The world-famous Falmouth International Sea Shanty Festival will return this summer. The event, now in its 22nd year, will return to the Cornish port from Friday the 12th to Sunday the 14th of June. It's the biggest festival of its kind in Europe. Now, it's the last night of an anxious few months for thousands of parents. Tomorrow, families find out where their 4-year-olds will start school in September.
There might be a little bit of anxiety somewhere, mustn't there? Not all are guaranteed, of course, to get their first choice. But don't worry, there are options for those who don't. James Webster reports.
Should we do a purple beak?
Yeah. Claudia is waiting to find out whether Evie has got into her first choice school. Her older brother Harry is already there, and both of them going to different schools would make morning drop-off more challenging.
We would have to basically do drop-off at 2 different schools, a distance apart of at least 10-15 minutes at the same time, which logistically doesn't really seem possible. And school holiday dates are very different in the different schools just in this town, which seems a bit bizarre anyway. But yes, so holiday dates wouldn't line up, and drop-off and pick-up tricky.
The waiting is almost over. Tomorrow is offer day, when parents are told where their child has been accepted. Applications had to be in by January the 15th, with parents usually choosing between 3 and 6 options. Local authorities have then had 3 months to allocate places.
It's a very complex set of planning and sufficiency decisions to ensure that we've got the places we need. Because one of the things that's really difficult is if we have too many places across an area, then you'll get some schools not getting enough children, and that will mean those schools will have to cut classes, might need to close classes, and we know that leads to really difficult decisions for school leaders.
Last year here in the southwest, 94% got their first choice and 99% one of their top 3. For those who are disappointed tomorrow, the Good Schools Guide advises accepting the place that's been allocated while other options are considered.
You must accept the school place that you've been given. If you don't accept the school place, even if you feel that your child will go there over your dead body, you may not get another one. The local authority doesn't have an obligation to make you another offer. Go on the waiting lists for the schools that you do want. Families move, people get relocated, parents decide to take another school. And remember that your first choice won't be everyone else's first choice, so other people may be looking to make a move.
For the vast majority, there will be good news tomorrow, but it is inevitable some children will not be able to attend their family's first choice of school. James Webster, ITV News.
Good luck tomorrow. Now, in times when our sense of community seems more fragile than ever, the places providing services and spaces for older members of our society are more important than ever.
Honestly, this is such a lovely story, because the Hen Hayes Centre in the Somerset town of Crewkerne is one such facility, and demand for what it has to offer has never been higher. Richard Payne paid a visit to meet those who benefit and the people who make it possible.
Born to sing for you.
From singing to Scrabble, new computer skills to knitting, the choices offered here are as wide as the variety of tastes. Which makes places like Crewkerne's Hen Hayes Centre more important and in demand than they've ever been.
Sometimes older people might go all week, all month without speaking to another person, so coming somewhere like this makes a real difference to them. Ageing is very different than it once used to be. People are living longer, they are healthier for longer, they are active for longer.
It explains the procession of community minibuses bringing dozens in from surrounding villages to take advantage of a facility which after some tough years financially and closure during COVID, is now transformed under a team of just 6 paid staff and a small army of volunteers.
I did used to volunteer in the kitchen here, and I've only recently finished in the kitchen.
So it's so good, you want to stay as a customer now?
Yes, I do, yes.
It's built up. Steph's done such a wonderful job here, and more people come, and the entertainment is really first class.
On a Friday we come down, we play cards. Yeah.
Not for money, I hope.
No, we have a really good time.
Helped by a really good meal for 60 on the busiest days, lovingly prepared behind the scenes to give both nutrition and choice.
Wise men say.
Added demand means 3 memory groups now offer conversation and singing for people with dementia and important respite for their carers.
I love it. It's the nicest place, actually, I've ever lived.
We love being together.
The singing does bring out some memory of some word somewhere, you know, if not a memory, a tune, you know, and it really makes a difference to see them. It's nice to see.
We all volunteer above our payroll, so it's a real community centre in every spirit of it. Be it the staff, be it the people that use it, be it our volunteers, everyone comes together to help out.
A fact not lost on the hundreds of people who benefit from that hard work to put this place truly at the heart of its community. Richard Payne, ITV News, Crewkern.
You're feeling good?
I know. What a lovely place.
It's got feel-good factor, isn't it? If you want a bit more of that feel-good factor, there's an extended version of Richard's report, meeting more of the people who attend or volunteer at the Hen Hayes Centre. Head over to ITVX.
Yes, it's so good for the soul. Watch that. Right, weather time now, and James has your forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
Hello there, good evening. It's been a bit of a wet one. There have been some hefty showers around. We've even had a couple of rumbles of thunder up across North Devon. More in the way of rain and showers over the next couple of days. It's going to remain pretty mild. The good news is it's going to turn a little more settled as we head towards the weekend. Still a few showers around and about on the underside of these dumbbelling low pressure systems. We're going to see a few showers just lining up with the isobars there as we head through tomorrow. And then Friday is almost an identical copy of today as another cold front drifts through with a few more showers tucked in behind that. Overnight tonight then we've got some clear spells developing, a couple of showers will drift through. Those showers likely to be a little bit on the blustery side. By the end of the night, though, we're looking at a mild one, many places in double figures. Tomorrow, then, this is where things get a bit complicated. These showers lining up with the breeze, so it means that you're either going to see quite a few of them or, luckily, none at all. Then later on, that warm front just introduces a bit more cloud across northern parts of Devon and Cornwall. It is a warm front, so it's drawing in the milder air, so we're looking at highs of 15 or 16 Celsius. And then here comes the next little feature. This is the one that's going to be a bit of a copy of today, really, but then we start to see the high pressure build and it's going to keep with us through the weekend. As a result, can't rule out a couple of showers on Friday once that cold front moves through, but some nice bright weather, still quite breezy and blustery, 17 Celsius, then lots of lovely sunshine, slightly less breezy on Saturday, maybe a bit of cloud trapped in that high on Sunday, and that's your lot.
TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
James, thank you. I know they say not to live for the weekend, but the weekend looks good.
Yeah, I'm living for it. I've got gardening to do.
Now, this is a lovely story because an exhausted seal pup who swam more than 120 kilometres from Cornwall to Pembrokeshire in just 4 days has been released back into the wild.
Yeah, he's called Muse and was found underweight and dehydrated. But after months of care at our RSPCA West Hatch in Somerset, go on, my son, he nearly tripled in size. So he was set free on the Devon coast along with 5 other, keeping up the rear there, seals, wasted no time racing back into the sea. So it's a really nice end to his little journey.
Just
as long as he doesn't do it again.
Just don't go to Pembrokeshire. Just stay where you are.
It's like, I liked it there. Right, that's it from the two of us. I'll be back at 10:50.
After the break, though, the ITV News continues. Off now. Bye.
Bye.